Mrs. Slunk, roll call, please.
Dr. Cordellino? Here. Mr. Daughtry?
Here.
Dr. Modrak?
Here.
Mr. Morella?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mr. Rappaport?
Here.
Ms. Zuckerman?
Here.
Mr. Palma?
Here.
Mr. Grau?
Present.
Mr. Ermick?
Here.
Mr. Hovell?
Here. All right, pledge of allegiance, please, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Slunk, the sunshine law, please.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Montville Township Board of Education provided a public notice of this meeting, which included time, date, and location that was posted at the Montville Township Municipal Building, all Montville Township Public Schools, the Montville Public Library, Montville Township Board of Education Administrative Office Building, the district website, and advertised in the Daily Record, the board's official newspaper, on January 11th, 2019.
Thank you, Christine. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone. It's so great to see the youngsters from Woodmont School here with their green shirts on. It's also so great to see the teachers of the year along with the support staff of the year. And it's really great to see some former administrators and mayors that I met over my career, and their daughters are being recognized tonight as teachers of the year. And as I told one of the young ladies before, that we never penalize a teacher because who their father is. So when we get to those young ladies, I will introduce their fathers. In fact, why don't I do that right now? We have Miss Cardinell, who's getting an award from Lazar School. And I'd ask her father, Mario, to stand up. Mario, stand up. Mario, as many of you know, was a teacher here and all the way up to principal. And then he left us, became superintendent in several districts. I've had the pleasure of working with him, and it was really enjoyable. He really knows his business. And again, congratulations, Mario, on your daughter getting this award. We also have a good friend of mine from East Hanover. He happens to be the mayor of East Hanover, but we won't blame him for that. Joe Pandulo. Joe, can you stand up? His daughter is also getting an award, and I had to introduce Joe because he said that if I didn't, every time I went through East Hanover on my way to Costco, I would get a speeding ticket. So Joe, make sure I don't get a ticket now. But let's, before we do that, get the Woodmont parents on, and then we'll do the teachers after that, and I'll give the program over to Renee.
Okay, without any further ado, I'd like to turn things over to Mrs. Catalano and our Woodmont students who are here to present on the Power Save program.
Dr. Rotar, Dr. Shorter, Mrs. Woodring, and Mr. Grau, members of the Board of Education, parents, and community members. Our names are Lena Takim and Aditya Anand, and we are 4th and 5th graders at Woodmont School. We'd like to introduce our new Power Safe team of Woodmont School for this year, and our advisors, Mrs. Janice and Ms. Catalano. This is the second year of our club at Woodmont, but our first, so we're new members just starting to learn about energy and energy savings. Working with our sponsor, New Jersey Natural Gas, last year's club completed energy audits throughout our building and shared the results with Dr. Rotar and Mr. Esposito. Our club's efforts contributed to our school's recognition of a New Jersey sustainable school and started a conversation about how we can save energy in our school.
year, our goal is to educate our students and staff about last year's findings so our building can contribute to the district's energy savings. We started by creating posters from our first few lessons that will become part of an educational bulletin board in our school. We look forward to learning more about how energy works, where it comes from, how to use energy efficiently, and most important, how to save energy. Our team would like to introduce themselves and share a fact about their poster.
Hi, my name is Rusha Kumpaka, and my poster is about energy's ability to do work. Our club is going to be teaching students how to use energy to get things done.
Hi, my name is Kendra. This is my partner, Simon. And our poster is about the different types of energy. Some types of energy are kinetic energy, electrical energy, and heat energy, to name a few.
Hi, my name is Sonam Jain, and my poster explains the difference between hydrogen energy and energy that comes from fossil fuels.
Hi, my name is Ishan Gupharaju. My topic includes biomass energy, geothermal energy, wind energy, and solar energy. Solar energy is the energy of the sun, wind the air, geothermal energy comes from Earth's skirt, and biomass energy comes from plants.
Hello, my name is Shamrat Paul, and my poster tells about wave, tidal, and hydroelectric energy, which all have water use in common. Wave and tidal energy is renewable, which is fabulous. Hello, my name is Amna Bukhari, and my poster describes 3 different types of light bulbs: incandescent, CFL, and LED. LED light bulbs are energy efficient and the best ones to use. Fun fact, did you know LED light bulbs last 50,000 hours? You won't even need to change it for 11 years.
Hi, my name is Ruby Zaki, and my poster explains how power can be generated from water, wind, and sun. Did you know that electricity can be made out of animal waste?
Hello, my name is Aditya Anand. My poster tells where our electricity comes from and how much each is used in USA, in Montville. You might be interested to know that most of our energy comes from gas, nuclear, and coal.
Hi, I'm Lena Takin, and my poster is about ways to save energy. An easy way to save is to always shut the lights off when not in use and use more natural light.
Hello, my name is Tara McCauley, and my poster is about how to save money and energy. One way to do this is the last person to exit a room to turn off the lights. This is called blast out, lights out. Another way is to shut all the doors and windows when the heating or air conditioning is on. We are also excited to share our learning with the students and staff of Woodmont and work together to make positive changes. We plan on teaching others by using our bulletin board displays, informational videos, and school-wide activities. Thank you for your time this evening, and we look forward to hearing more about our work later this year. Dr. Oktar, we would like to recognize you as a member of our Power Save team at Woodmont. We would like to give you this t-shirt.
thank you very much for coming this evening. I think the Power Save program is a wonderful thing, and I know you guys have worked very, very hard within the building. I always think that students, particularly at this age, I kind of like to call them the police, because if you're riding in a car with a child this age, they will make sure that you have your seatbelt on. They're excellent at kind of encouraging people to adopt behaviors that are helpful or important. So I'm hoping that you can, encourage people to adopt some of the suggestions that you put forward. I think it's wonderful, not only for Woodmont School, but for at home as well. I thank you very much. Actually, I do feel part of your team. I spend a lot of time at Woodmont learning the violin. In fact, a number of these students are my orchestra mates, and Lucia and I share a stand in orchestra practice, so I know the students and they've worked really hard, and I want to thank you for taking the time tonight to come in and share your knowledge with all of us.
Let's have one more round of applause. For your comments. I want to get over there next time I play with the youngsters on it. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I know if you have homework that you need to do, please feel free to go if you choose to go. We don't want to make you stay for the whole meeting, but our next item is also on the agenda is also very exciting. I think we're all very aware at this time of the year, if you paying attention to the news or you watch television at all, we are definitely in the midst of award season. You have the Golden Globes and Screen Actors Guild, and you have the Oscars coming up in several weeks. And so I think it's very fitting that at this time of the year, we traditionally here in Montville take the opportunity to recognize our best and brightest, the teachers who are really our stars, and we have many of them. But these folks, the process that is used to identify our teachers of the year and our educational services professionals of the year is a very comprehensive one. Teachers are nominated by their colleagues or by parents. Each school has a committee that works to review those applications. They give them very careful consideration and make their selections. A number of these folks have also elected to continue on. There's a very rigorous application process to be considered as the county teacher of the year, but we do have a number of our folks that have decided to continue on to that next level. And we certainly wish them well in that process. So it really is very, very thrilling for myself, for the board. All of our administrators are here tonight to celebrate truly excellent teachers and educational services professionals. And that is really the heart of any school district. Having staff members who are committed, dedicated, passionate, knowledgeable, and these folks all exemplify that to the highest degree. So this evening, I'm going to call upon the building principals to come up and introduce their staff. We have certificates for you that Mr. Grau will present. And then I understand that Mrs. Marinello is interested in having you, I guess, kind of congregate in the back for a picture and some interviews. So if you could do that as well, that would be wonderful. I'm going to kind of go alphabetically with our elementary schools. Unfortunately, Dr. Raj is not able to be with us this evening. Do I understand that Mr. Malucci is going to fill in his stead? Okay, so to honor the teachers and education service professional from Cedar Hill, our William Mason School principal, Mr. David Malucci, will take that over.
Thank you, Dr. Robitar. And for the record, I'm tired of covering for Dr. Raj. He was injured this afternoon at the high school, stepping down from the curb. So if you see him, give him your regards and well wishes for a speedy recovery. The Cedar Hill winners are 16-year veteran Lisa Accardi for Teacher of the Year. Lisa? And the Educational Services Professional of the Year is Mrs. D.
Okay, so we won't go in perfect alphabetical order. Since we already have Mr. Malucci up at the microphone, I would ask him to introduce the honorees from William Mason School.
Okay, William Mason School is proud to present Teacher of the Year, 12-year veteran Scott Brennan. And William Mason is also proud to congratulate Educational Services Professional Shannon Garapi.
Okay, from Hilldale School, Mrs. Jill Cisneros, the principal.
Good evening. We would like to congratulate our Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Roxanne Laranjara, in District 23 years, Hopewell. And our Educational Services Professional in District 17 years, Mrs. Debbie Mancino.
Why don't you guys all go over and shake the board members' hands now? Because I know they want to congratulate you. Just a lot of you, and then we'll take the second group next, okay?
Okay, I'm happy to call upon Dr. Kennedy, principal of Valley View School, to introduce her honoree.
Evening. Congratulations to everyone. I would like to present Mrs. Kristen Warfield, extraordinary special education teacher, 12 years in education, 11 in the district. Congratulations. And our educational Our Educational Service Specialist of the Year could not be with us tonight. He sends his apologies, but I think you all know his name, Mr. Len Saunders, extraordinary physical education teacher. 35 years in education.
I will ask Mr. Esposito to come up and introduce our winners.
Always need more cowbell. It's my honor to introduce Woodmont's Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Maria Ayala. Sorry, Charlie, we're Italian, we do this, we kiss. And our Educational Services Professional of the Year, Mrs. Patty Ann Olivieri.
Okay, from Ozar Middle School, Mr. Michael Fisciuto, if you can introduce your honorees.
Good evening. Tonight, I introduce our Education Professional Services of the Year Award winner, Mrs. Debbie Meenan, who did not want me to say. And I was going to introduce Mr. Carnell, but Charlie stole my thunder. But our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Caitlin Carnell.
Okay, next up, Mr. Sanford from the high school, who actually has the honor of 3 honors. Let me do that.
Good evening, everyone. First, start off by congratulating all the educators of the year from all the different schools in our district. It's my pleasure to introduce Montville Township High School's Teacher of the Year. She's been working at the high school for a little over 25 years. She's been our ceramics and crafts teacher. Congratulations to Ms. Sharon Flug-Mensch. And moving on to our Education Services Professional of the Year. She's had a career in education that's just shy of 25 years. She began it as a Spanish teacher and then switched over to being a school counselor at Montville Township High School for the past 11 years, or a little over 11 years. Congratulations to Montville Township High School's Education Services Professional of the Year, Ms. Kim Garcia Cunha. And last but not least, the high school recognizes 3 awards. We participate, in addition to the 2 programs run by the Department of Education, we participate in the Princeton University Distinguished Secondary School Teacher Award, which recognizes teachers in particular for their innovative ways in which they raise the quality of education in the classroom. Without further ado, and certainly last but not least, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Stephanie Sanfilippo, one of our social studies teachers at the high school.
been asked by Sue Marinello not to let you guys leave. I think she wants to take a picture. So, while we're waiting, can we just ask people to stand up if these are your spouses, your mother, your father, your sister, brother, child? Just stand up. We'd like to acknowledge you. Okay, stand up. Thank you for your support. You should be very proud of the awards that relatives have given this evening. Susan, what are we doing? Oh, she took them out in the hall? Okay, Dr.
Okay,
Wellstar, want to take a little break?
one additional thing before we do take a break is I just wanted to acknowledge, we did receive notification last week that our William Mason School has been designated as a New Jersey State School Character. They will be honored at ceremony in May, and we're very pleased that they joined Cedar Hill, Woodmont, and Lazar as our other districts, state districts of character. And that is really quite an accomplishment. It is not only reflective of the work of the administration, but the staff and the students as well. So we do congratulate them for that. Okay.
Why don't we just take a short break before we go on with the agenda, because I know the students have gone home already, maybe the teachers would like to convene the meeting. Continue after the recess, and we'll start with Malik's report, followed by Mason's. Go, guys.
Not much has changed for Montville sports these last 2 weeks. Most teams prepare for their county games, tournaments, and matches. Montville Wrestling in particular will be competing in the North 1 Group 3 state sectionals this week. Yesterday, the high school track team solidified their runners for county races in the coming weeks. As for the girls and boys basketball teams, their county and state runs have yet to begin. The bowling team, after a disappointing loss in counties, will be looking forward to states coming next month.
And for my part, yeah, pretty much our winter sports are getting to like a high point, and we're just getting ready to finish, I guess. And for upcoming events, so it's Chinese New Year's recently, and they're celebrating it this Friday at the high school. The Mandarin teachers are throwing like a little bit of like an event and like a culture night for everybody to see what's going on. And the musical is going to be performed February 28th, March 1st, and March 2nd. That's at the end of the month and into next month. And that's pretty much it for me and Malik.
I might have missed it. Isn't the Key Club usually have a volleyball around this time of the year?
Oh, yeah, VBM, yeah, that's also coming up very soon.
When is it?
February 22nd.
February?
22nd.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the gentleman? Thanks a lot, guys. You all can run out too now.
February 22nd.
February 23rd.
22nd.
We have a lot of good news in the schools. We don't have any, do we have any HIV, Christine, business administrator's report?
I just wanted to bring to the attention of the board that school ethics filings should have been sent to you through your Montville email. Just to highlight that that filing is due on April 30th. It requires that you complete it and then resubmit it back. It's important that everybody complete those documents as we are supportive of our disclosure and regulatory requirements.
Anything else to do?
That's it.
Committee reports. Karen, Finance.
We got snowed out, so we're meeting next week.
Okay, I know we're meeting next couple of weeks, right?
We're meeting the 13th? Yes, 5:30.
Michael, Donna, working on this, right?
We have a meeting scheduled for February 19th.
Policy, John?
We're scheduled to meet on the 20th.
Communications, Karen?
No meetings.
And safety and security, John?
It's coming up soon.
Okay. Delegates, New Jersey School Boards, Karen?
Nothing to report right now.
Okay. Morris County School Boards, Mr. O'Brien?
Well, as usual, and you were aware of a very good workshop recently, but I think it's worth mentioning at this point that our Karen has decided to retire or take a rest from being president of the Town Ed Association. And I think that it goes without saying that under her leadership, there was a lot of great work and presentations done by the county. I have to say that for myself, being able to attend so many of the workshops, I feel it's made me a better board member, a greater understanding of what my role is and what I'm supposed to be doing. So I appreciate all your work as president over the past years.
Thank you very much.
I think we all echo that, Karen. Educational Services,
We meet next week,
Drug Awareness.
next Wednesday.
I'm sorry. I did want to give I actually forgot, I went to a county association leadership meeting on Saturday down in Trenton. And I was hoping to have the PowerPoint that was presented at the meeting. It hasn't been sent out yet. But the topic of the meeting was so enlightening and instructive. It had to do with trauma, emotional and physical trauma, and how trauma affects the behaviors of our students. And I know I'm not painting a complete picture, but it dovetailed beautifully with mindfulness and socio-emotional learning. And once I get the PowerPoint to have a better picture of what our discussion was about, I'll share it with the board and about the workshop. But it might be something we may want to explore.
We're on it. We, Mrs.
I should have
Woodman,
known that.
Mrs. Scheckman, and Mrs. Desai have all worked very carefully to put together a program. We have professional development being provided to all of our teachers. In fact, tomorrow at our administrative council meeting, the administrators will have the first part of, we refer to as the trauma-informed classroom. So yes, it is something that
Puts a whole different perspective on students who have chronic behavioral issues.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that all of our staff have that.
Thank you.
Mike, Palmer, Drug Awareness.
Meeting is next Wednesday.
Mr. O'Brien, Mustang.
The Mustangs didn't meet in February. The next meeting is March 6th.
PTC, Liaison, Cedar Hill, Karen.
I attended the Cedar Hill homeschool meeting on January 23rd, and the most fun part of the meeting was recognizing Mrs. Aparti as Teacher of the Year and Mrs. D as the Educational Services Professional of the Year. And I did share with those in attendance a little bit about our district goals, and also about how the budget is being already developed for the next school year, in its very early stages.
Thank you. Hildale, David.
Yeah, just They're going to be celebrating their Chinese New Year on the 15th of February, and another reminder that the Shell Sullivan Games coming up March 22nd.
Thank you. Joe, Ally, do you have anything?
Nothing important.
Mason has met. Woodmont, Mr. Palmer?
Has not met.
Middle school, Michelle? And high school, Michael?
Nothing.
I think we can probably eliminate G9 and 10 from save some space in the future. Okay, public participation. An opportunity for anybody that has any questions on items on the agenda. Please come forward, identify who you are. Go on to the mic. This on the agenda?
No, sorry.
We'll have a chance at the end of the meeting to try and decide on the agenda, okay?
Thank you.
Very good. Anything on the items? Okay, could I have a motion and second for the agenda items?
I'll move. Second.
Remember, we have an addendum that the team handed out, okay? So the agenda items plus the addendum. Motion, please.
So moved.
Any questions on item minutes? Jay? Kay? L? Very small agenda this time. M? And N, no policy.
Joe, actually, I do have a comment on J3 before we go.
J what?
J3, the approval of the 2021 school calendar. Just something for consideration. In February, I'm trying to get this up on the computer, but in February we had a 3-day weekend for President's Day. The only day off was Monday the 15th. And we also had the last day of school as Wednesday, June 23rd. And this isn't a deal breaker, but I'm just kind of thinking, just throw it out for everybody. Is there an argument that says, let's take one of those days in June, push the graduation back one day to Thursday, and add an additional day of February vacation? To me, this has two advantages in my mind. One, the people are always complaining that they need that additional time off in February to get the schools cleaned out, get healthy, cleaned out, flu, and pushing the graduation day back to a Thursday instead of Wednesday creates a situation where maybe somebody's coming long distance, it could be a long weekend instead of having a graduation just right smack in the middle of the week. And plus the fact that, yeah, there's another day in February is, any day I have off in February is one day less possibility than I have a snow day. But that's really a very tertiary reason. I'm really thinking more in terms of putting another day in February vacation and hopefully creating a long weekend in June. I think with all the schools being air conditioned, the old complaint about the schools are too hot really doesn't hold the water anymore. So, yeah, look, I vote to approve it the way it is, but I just as a suggestion, I thought that maybe might be worthwhile just to flip one of the days back in February.
Thank you, Michael. I know this was the calendar that we've had the last couple of years. We had one day off.
We've had that for
Quite some time on Monday. Any other comments on any of the items?
I would just to further clarify for Mr. Palmer that it's too bad that all the principals have gone because, and I'm sure Mr. Rihanna would agree that a day in February is typically more meaningful in terms of instruction than a day in the third week of June. And that's why we've crafted the calendar. I mean, I think typically we want to finish as early as possible in June because we know that once the calendar flips over to that month, it becomes a little bit more difficult sometimes to engage the students. So while we run the risk of flu and bad weather in February, if we do have the kids in the building those days, typically the instruction is far better than it would be if it was June. So that's just to give you the rationale why the calendar looks the way it does.
I think that's what we do. Anything else on any of the agenda items? Roll call, Mrs. Swan.
Mr. Morella?
Yes.
Dr. Modrak?
Yes.
Dr. Portolino? Yes. Mr. Daughtry?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. Rappaport,
Yes.
Ms. Zuckerman,
Yes.
Mr. Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Grau.
Yes. We do not have any closed session announcement to go into. Is there any old business that we have? Except for you. We'll be meeting the 19th again in a public meeting here. General board comment on the business. Now is the opportunity, if you'd like to come up to the microphone and ask a question, this is the place to do that. Can you just tell us your names and your addresses, please? Can you flip that mic up?
My name is Felicia Malelli. I live at 17 Mazar Road. I live at the Rubin address in Montville. My children are at William Mason. I have 2 children, one in 5th and one in 3rd currently. I have 2 other children, that one is 4 years old and one is just a year, so I will be at William Mason for quite some time. I'm nervous, but I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys. I have been waiting to come for a long time. Can you hear me? I'm here with Brett Hartman, who will introduce himself when I'm through. And I am a health coach. I find it interesting that I have come tonight on the coattails of the energy discussion from Woodmont and the discussion that Mrs. Cordolino brought up about trauma. I have a background in psychology and in, as I said, holistic health coaching with several certifications underneath that. My driving force for being here is wellness in the school environments. I have, in the last 3 years, created a movement in our town. I have a Facebook group called WISE, Wellness in the School Environment. I have approached Mr. Vellucci and started a wellness committee in our schools, and since then have been a driving force behind getting wellness committees as a priority in some of the other schools, as well as enforcing the no sugar, no candy, 8505 nutrition and wellness policy. I am here tonight to let you know I exist and to ask, I guess, to hear out a couple things. One thing, our bodies are one of the most perfectly designed machines that has ever been created. Given half the chance, it has the ability to fight itself. There are so many levels of toxicity surrounding us that my drive in helping people and as a parent and as a citizen of this community is to inform parents about ways of helping their children to be healthier, cleaner, and that comes from the inside out. I believe sincerely that the wellness of the person affects their academic success, etc. In terms of trauma and social emotional, I now have a daughter. My oldest is a daughter, and she's approaching her tween ages. I see that there's a lot of social emotional stuff beginning with that, and everything that we put into our body goes into our cells, goes into our blood, goes into our organs, and eventually goes into our brain. So when our children are exposed, now, step back, I believe that you're in school for 6 hours a day, which is, I don't know if you guys know, but that's probably 1,000 hours a year or such, and the exposure to what we're putting into our body is essential. Being that I'm in an elementary school, we don't have a cafeteria, we don't have Montonium, we have fast food delivered to our schools. It is a fundraiser, so we're profiting on the expense of the nutrition of our children. Yes, it is the parent's right to choose whether or not you are sending your child in with a hot lunch. But everything that goes into your body, as I was saying about going back to the trauma, if you're
putting food additives into your body, and some of the stuff that is delivered to my children or in their presence or offered to them at a birthday celebration, you are clouding your ability to learn. Food additives and food coloring are scientifically proven to cause ADHD and to affect the ADHD mind, and never mind the actual child. You need to come out.
I'm going to ask Renee, this is in her bill, to respond to what you indicated, okay?
Can I just...
We've gone over the limit, but put another couple minutes.
Sure. Thank you. I have just come to ask specifically tonight that we consider taking food out of birthday celebrations. I know it's been up for discussion. There's a whole, I'm here alone tonight because this was a last minute discussion, the decision to come here this evening. I have a bunch of people who would be supporting me, and I could bring them back with me. But yes, the question is to eliminate food from the birthday celebrations. Consider things in our wellness in terms of finding solutions to decreasing Wi-Fi and EMF exposure in our children's brains. And then recycling. Recycling and sustainability and everything that our world is leading toward. It's not happening in our school systems, but it's happening in the surrounding school systems. To mirror the efforts the town is making for sustainability and for recycling. And please take what I said, ingest it, and do what you did.
Thank you. Renee? You're going to speak on the same thing? Or?
Yeah, I just want to bring up a couple other comments about it's just going to be more specific to the food in the classroom.
Right. Speak into the mic, please.
Okay. Dr. Brett Hartman, I am a chiropractor. I'm also the president of the Jefferson Township Chamber of Commerce. So I represent about over 80 businesses in Morris County. My daughter is Elaine Mason, lives on 31 Virginia Road. She's 7 years old, second grade, and I have a 4-year-old at Transfiguration. Now, my kids do not have allergies, but I'm here tonight to kind of talk about some of the kids that have allergies. My wife is been the class mom 2 years in a row. And when I talk to teachers, principal, no one wants food in the class. Now, they might not want to say it out loud because they don't want to stir a ruckus, but it would make their job so much easier if they didn't have to worry about some child that has a life-threatening allergy potentially dying, and it's happened, or having a severe reaction in the classroom. It's not that I'm against, having a party. It's just kids have so many parties outside of school. We don't really need one in school. Food has changed. The environment has changed. Children are a lot sicker than they were 30 years ago. The amount of allergies is crazy. And I don't need to get into sugar and different things like that. But I just really want to speak on allergies today. That's something I would highly consider. A lot of school districts are going through it. No food in the classroom policy. That's to me one thing that I would like you to consider tonight. And then, like Felicia said, we really have a ton of parents that would come if that helps. I don't know if that helps at seeing that there's a lot more support for this. So, get your comments.
I can tell you that over the past 2 years, this really, kind of comes from discussions at the PTA level. Each month, I meet with the President's Council, which is the president or co-presidents of all of the PTA, HSA, PTC groups within the district. We have talked about this topic on at least 2 occasions, and the majority of the membership of that group have very strongly not wanted to see food eliminated from classroom celebrations. I can certainly revisit that topic with them when we meet again in March. But that's really where it has come from, is that they feel that they represent the parents, and I think it's really coming at the PTA level, and that's pretty much where the discussions should really come. If they're coming representing the individual PTAs, indicating that would be their pleasure to see food eliminated, that has not been what's been forthcoming from those groups. So again, we'll revisit it. but that's why we are where we are.
Is there a moral obligation for the board?
Microphone.
Is there a moral obligation for the board to consider the disadvantages relating to the ingesting of these foods?
Well, I think I don't want to get into this a whole huge debate, but I think there is a fine line between what a school district's responsibility is and what a parent's responsibility is.
But the parents that are bringing their treats into my children are feeding them, and I don't feel that, so just clear the slate by, like we said, there's allergies, with the ADHDs, all these different dynamics. I think it's something that could be addressed by the board. I know that the people that are HSA just one voice. If they feel strongly on one thing, they're going to represent that. I don't know that they're sufficiently representing the town.
Well, we'll reconsider it. Yeah, no, I thank you for coming to share your thoughts on it.
It wasn't easy, so I appreciate it.
And if I could say one more thing, in districts that have done that, the first year or two, people are going to fight you, and then no one cares. And then it becomes just the norm. So I know it's a big, believe me, I took the parents and it's like a pain. Oh, you're not giving them this? It's like they feel pain from it, which I don't know why they associate with that. But the kids that are left out, that can't eat that, they feel a little trauma too. That they feel left out, that they can't have what other kids are having in classroom. So I will say, other districts that have done that, it's when a year goes by, it's just the norm, and no one's really fighting it anymore.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public? All right, entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.